What's going on, y'all? Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about colonialism. Ah yes, colonialism. That adorable historical period when European countries looked at the entire planet and said, yup, that's mine. Because nothing says civilized like showing up uninvited and declaring, this land belongs to us now. And then being absolutely shocked when locals don't throw a welcome parade. And of course, Great Britain was considered the Beyonce of colonization. Absolutely dominant. Always in everybody's business and somehow convinced that the sun would never set on its empire. Spoiler alert, it did. They were so obsessed with acquiring territory that they turned countries into collectibles. For real, on some Pokemon shit. Gotta colonize them all. Take India, for example. A land with thousands of years of history, sophisticated culture, and spices. But according to Great Britain, what it really needed was some bland food, some infrastructure that it never asked for, and some bossy white people. So the British packed up their smallpox blankets and rifles and drained the economy dry. And then they had the nerve to act surprised when India eventually kicked them out in 1947. But let's not put all the colonial glory on Britain. The United States, that scrappy little former colony, took one look at Europe's imperial habits and said, you know what, hell yeah. And so naturally they started hoarding territories like a suburban dad collecting sports memorabilia. Hawaii, overthrown. Puerto Rico, annexed like a buy one get one free deal after the Spanish-American War. Guam, the US Virgin Islands, snatched up with the subtlety of a Black Friday sale. And then, in a plot twist, America had the nerve to turn around and start preaching about freedom and self-determination. The hypocrisy is so thick, you could butter toast with it. Now, fast forward to 2025, and colonialism is about as socially acceptable as bringing back lead-based paint. You just can't steal a country anymore. The international community really frowns on that, but with these annoying things like the UN Charter, which says that, actually, people should govern themselves. Crazy concept. Or the 1960 UN Declaration on the granting of independence to colonial countries and peoples, which really spelled it out. Y'all gotta give these places back. And then there's the Montevideo Convention, which laid out the basics of what makes a country, none of which includes because some European monarch said so. These days, international law makes it extremely awkward to claim someone else's land. Like, imagine trying to explain in a UN meeting that you just really like the vibe of an island, so you're keeping it. The side eyes alone would burn a hole through your diplomatic passport. And just when we thought we had buried colonialism, left it in the dustbin of history with powdered wigs and bloodletting, here comes Russia, giving it a modern-day reboot. Because let's be honest, Russia's whole shtick with Ukraine is just colonialism dressed up as national security. Vladimir Putin is out here trying to reclaim Ukraine like a divorced dad who just lost the house in a settlement and still shows up unannounced. Since 2014, when he first invaded Crimea, Russia has been steadily creeping further into Ukrainian territory. And now, after 2 years of a full-scale war and over 75,000 Ukrainian soldiers dead and twice as many Russians, Putin is still at it, convinced that he can make Ukraine his again. Which brings us to America's latest embarrassing display of foreign policy under President Donald Trump. Because, of course, when faced with the largest land invasion in Europe since World War II, the American president's response isn't to support the country that's literally fighting for its existence. No. It's to bully the leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, for calling Putin a dictator.
Ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
You know, how dare Zelensky correctly label the man who is bombing his cities and stealing 19,000 Ukrainian children? That's not very diplomatic, is it? According to Trump, if Zelensky wants U.S. support, he needs to bow, kiss the ring, and never, ever publicly disagree with him. Not even on points of objective fact.
Because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy.
Then, if things weren't already a mess, Trump starts ranting about the Mueller investigation like it was some kind of bonding experience between him and Putin. Because what could bring two world leaders closer than one of them being accused of handpicking the other? And after all of this chaos unfolds, Marco Rubio is bent over backwards doing Olympic-level mental gymnastics to stay in Trump's good graces.
Look, Putin can't win. No matter what, there always has to be a real, legitimate Ukrainian state that we have a relationship with. And I don't know why we can't begin to openly say we will support them as long as they are willing to fight, even if it's an insurgency.
What specifically do you want to see President Zelensky apologize for?
Well, apologize for turning this thing into the fiasco for him that it became. Because he found every opportunity to try to Ukraine-splain on every issue. Maybe Zelensky doesn't want a peace deal. He says he does, but maybe he doesn't.
He knows full well that Ukraine can't hold a fair election under occupation, but he's not about to say anything that might upset dear leader. And Trump, the man who screams America first every 5 seconds, what's he doing? He's out here threatening Canada, Greenland, Panama with invasions. It's like suddenly we're starring in Red Dead Redemption Manifest Destiny Edition. And what's crazy is I'm sure the MAGA base loves this because nothing says owning the libs like flirting with authoritarianism. But for everyone else, you know, for people who actually understand foreign policy and geopolitics, this whole display was horrifying. 75,000 Ukrainian soldiers are dead. Russia has lost twice that. This war is a complete catastrophe, and yet instead of dealing with the real issue, which is Russia's aggression, we're watching the president of the United States throw a tantrum because a wartime leader refused to grovel. Colonialism didn't go away. It really just changed outfits. And right now, the leader of the free world is out here treating this like another business deal. I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think Zelensky was being disrespectful by naming facts? Do you think he's gonna circle back with Trump and try to get that aid? Or how do y'all see this kind of going? Because I'm at a loss. Thanks for tapping in. Leave a comment. I want to hear y'all thoughts. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all next time.